This week, Denver City Council voted to settle half a dozen lawsuits against the Denver Police Department. They are tied to the social justice protests after George Floyd's death in 2020. City Council agreed to pay $1.6 million to settle 6 lawsuits involving DPD. 2 lawsuits say people were hurt when DPD officers shot them in the face with rubber bullets. Last year, Denver settled more than $3.5 million in claims against the police department.
So our legal analyst, Whitney Traylor, is with us now. And I have to ask you, first and foremost, as someone who's seeing these come through more often, is there a menu? How do you find these numbers? Because obviously you're talking about someone's life and someone who may have felt threatened that they might not survive the night, and they end up getting injured. So where does the price come from?
It's relevant because here it's a settlement, and so a settlement means it's voluntary. That's why the city council had to approve it. So that's even a more important analysis when you come to a settlement, and really that is the analysis that the defendant has to do, which in this case was the city and the Denver Police Department. And what they have to do is they have their attorneys and they assess the case, and they say, what's our exposure? What's the evidence against us? What is a jury going to look like?
What's the going rate? Is that even part of it? Does that get considered? Like what we did last time, we set precedent for this, or this happened in Philadelphia or Seattle or wherever?
Not necessarily as specific as a specific, a broken wrist or a broken arm. That does happen in personal injury where they have those kind of valuations. But here, certainly cases that settled and went to trial and were resolved will come into play, because you also have to remember there was last year the verdict for $14 million against another case with 12 different plaintiffs. So the defendants in all these cases really look at everything and then say, what's our exposure and what can we settle it for? Because they also have attorney fees, and and then of course the police are in disfavor right now, so the notion of going to a jury trial would not be
That's the gamble, and so often you hear about these settlements. There have been in mediation and depositions for a long time to get to this place. But there was so much video, too, that's a part of it. Are you surprised by the size of the settlement? Or
I'm not necessarily surprised by the size of the settlement, but the video, you raise a great point, because a lot of these cases, they've been amending the complaints because as they're finding more video, they're finding actual police, because they listed as John or Jane Doe because they didn't know who did it. Some of the cases even had Aurora and Jefferson County police because they had came in and helped. So yeah, the video definitely exacerbates it. I'm not necessarily I'm not surprised at the number, because there was some of these facts are pretty egregious. One guy was actually rendering medical aid to somebody and got hit in the face and had some severe injuries. And so that was the issue here, is that these were peaceful protesters, and that was the idea that they're stifling their First Amendment rights.
So we talk about it with money, but we're also talking about human beings. But also, does it change anything, the way the city and the police department function? Is that some of the point of it?
I think so. And some of the orders from the judge actually included policy changes. So this I think does prompt change, both from an order from the judge, but also precedentially. When their police are looking at these videos and looking at these hits, these verdicts time after time, they're certainly taking that into account. And then of course we know there were laws that were passed after 2020, like the police accountability law, which requires that all police have body cam by the end of, I think, next year or 2025. So some of these things definitely prompted change, the protest for sure.
Yeah, some change, and obviously in police as well, their training, so.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly right. And this is going to be, we're coming up on this mayoral election, and I watched the debate last night, which was excellent with Kyle and the crew. And you see every spectrum of the, either more police, more aggressive sweeps, and you're going to see a lot more litigation, because we had litigation with the sweeps, and multiple times it was deemed unconstitutional, and there were very strict limitations. And so now even here with these protests, there were certain, the non-lethal projectiles were deemed to be unconstitutional. So you're seeing changes, and depending on how aggressive this new mayor gets, we may see more litigation.
We'll have much more to talk about.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. Thank you, Whitney.
Sure. Thanks.